What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. Grand Party day number 3. So we're trying to aim for that 9th victory. Remember, by the way, guys, when you get that 9th victory, you will secure yourself another Super Evolution Skull for Gear 5 Luffy. So make sure you are playing Grand Party. Try your hardest to get to that 9th victory to secure one of those skulls. You do need 5 of them to Super Evolve Luffy, so ensure that you are playing all of the events that are out, whether it be upcoming treasure maps, or the past treasure maps, Kizunas, Grand Parties, if they release a Clash or, another Blitz battle, who knows, right? You need 5 of these skulls in order to evolve Luffy, and the thing is these skulls are not going to be available, probably for a long time. I would expect these skulls to maybe be back after this event period, probably maybe November, December-ish. Maybe that we could be a bit lucky and they'll release them earlier. I hope they do, so that people get the chance to evolve this Luffy whenever it becomes available. I digress. Let's talk about Grand Party. Everyone's favorite game mode, of course, and we're using the same strat, We're going to go with that same strat. We're just going to go wave clear. We're going to go health cut, wave clear with Luffy, and it's a bunch of fun. We get into a bit of a spicy scenario when we get to match 3. We'll talk more about it once we get there. But, of course, we're up against a lot of Gear 5s. A lot of Gear 5s around as their GP leads. So we took down the first team pretty comfortably. Now we have Sai versus Strength. I was a little concerned because, obviously, the opponent is going to have their GP skill relatively soon. They've got Jack on their team, they've got Odin. Those characters can, launch their specials very quickly to apply more pressure on us, launching and helping them charge their GP skill. Also, waifus on the enemy side of the field. I was actually doing some testing earlier, and, I found a waifu matchup that actually, confused all 5 of my characters, which was a lot of fun. But luckily, we got the victory. Moving on to match number 2, and when I looked to try and find an opponent, luckily we found someone that wasn't using Gear 5, so that was a little bit refreshing. We're using Gear 5 versus Kaido as the GP lead, which is interesting. Not my GP lead of choice, that's for damn sure. It's interesting though, because it is not a good leader to use. His burst is not that great. Though I can understand why people might use it, right? Because the effect itself does a lot of damage towards Sai characters. So if Sai teams are the bane of your existence, and you just want to find a way to get through them, then obviously there are lots of ways to do it. You could just use your own Gear 5 to get through Sai teams. Even Roger as a leader is still perfectly acceptable. But I understand, Kaido has the ability to severely hinder the capabilities of Sai teams with his GP burst skill, doing really good damage against them, and heavy defense down too. So I get it, but at the same time, I feel like that's almost a free win for us. So it's a quick driven team, the first teams, and because I use Wano Law in my Sai team, I felt like it was a given that we should just go ahead and use the Sai team against it. We actually get a couple characters knocked out here, and I was getting a little concerned, I must admit, but I was really trying to get that burst skill, and I was wondering, can I save the burst skill for later, so that if something goes wrong, I have one burst skill in the backup ready to go. And luckily, we were able to secure a victory without using the burst skill, and at this point, it's free. We have 2 burst skills left, and we need to win 1 more game, so we're looking pretty good. So we're able to secure this one here, as whenever I come up against a Dex team now, I typically like to use Roger and Whitebeard on that team, because when Luffy's such an oppressive unit, and with Roger Whitebeard's skill, he typically will knock out someone, which will proc the Luffy revive effect, meaning that we can use the burst skill to get more wave clears. So that's the strat I usually like to do versus Dex teams. So now we're into the final match of the video, and this one was where things go a little bit awry. So we're up against a Free Spirit team to start us off, and I thought, you know, let's go ahead and just use Whitebeard and see what happens here. And we get kind of clobbered. We get clobbered really, really badly. And in hindsight, yeah, probably wasn't the best idea to use this team against this matchup, but at the same time, I really don't know what the best matchup is to go up against opposing Free Spirit teams. Now, Psy Free Spirit is a different example, but for the mono Free Spirit team you're seeing here with Zoro, Luffy, Yamato, Sanji, and Otama, like that combination of characters, I actually don't know what the best matchup is against that. I mean, a lot of people would have opinions on that. I may have to ask around about that specifically. But this team was not the best idea, and when I knew that it was basically unwinnable, I just decided to not use the burst. I don't even think I even get the burst, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. This one was just, yeah, this was a big fat L. So we lose that one, and we have to win the last two in order to secure a victory. So we're up against a Psy team next, which I was very scared about, because at this point I didn't know what the third team was. So I felt like, okay, I didn't want to do a Psy mirror match, because that's just, I don't like Psy mirror matches. It's just, I always seem to be on the losing end of Psy mirror matches. But we end up using the Striker Focus team versus the Psy Free Spirit, and luckily we were able to itch out a win versus this team, Roger Whitebeard being as awesome as he always is. But we actually have our burst skill almost activated. You see my opponent has their burst skill activated as well. I was a bit concerned that because he didn't even use his burst in the last game and got the victory, that I was pretty much going to lose. Jack's special launches ours. I launch my skill straight away, hoping to get a fair few knockouts, and we do, which is very, very good for us, but a little unfortunate that Gear 5 stayed alive, which meant that you know, we had to go ahead and use the Luffy Yamato special to proc his revive there. So we got a little unlucky there, but we actually pulled out the win, which was great, which meant we had our Psy team with a burst skill in the back ready to go. The opponent used their burst skill towards the end of that second game too, which puts us in a pretty good spot, and we're up against the Dex team. So when I saw Psy versus Dex, lots of driven or powerhouse characters typically on this team, nerfing them with Wano Law, I felt pretty comfortable. I know some people are opting to switch out Wano Law for a character like Roger or Cruzan. I may have to explore those options. And also at the end of this video, you'll see me with the brand new Legend ticket. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you guys did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.